Guys, what do you do when you are not feeling good about yourself? What helps you to kick yourself out of that? What motivates you out of that space is the question that I have for you. I wasn't gonna make a video this week because I felt like I didn't have enough to share, but then I got out of my head and realized, no, it's okay. Like, I can just talk to you guys. We can have a conversation, sort of, one-sided conversation, because I'm the one talking, y'all are the ones listening. But you know what I mean. So I am in a space where I am understanding what happens to me during heartbreak, what I need to do to get myself out of heartbreak. For you guys, if you're wondering, I'm currently in North Carolina, where I'm here for work, and I got my heart broke this week. And in a way that I can't quite talk about just yet, but I will eventually be able to. And it's my second big heartbreak for the year in a way. And I'll share something with you guys that I didn't share before, but my dad died just after my wedding. My dad got sick and was unable to come to my wedding, and he actually died literally the day after. And it was the most devastating thing for me to experience, both the bliss of a wedding and getting married and the simultaneous grief of my dad. And so I went from literally planning a wedding. I planned my wedding in like 2 months, very quick, very fast, in and out kind of thing. And then literally the next month after getting married was dedicated to planning a funeral and all the loose ends of death that happens to an oldest daughter and their parent. And so I am in grief. I've been in grief all year. And I will continue to be in grief. I realize this, it's an ongoing process. The crazy thing for me is that when you are getting married, for those of you who are married or have had a wedding or, you know, anything like that, probably know this, but what I experienced in my process, even though it was quick, was everybody gives you a lot of advice, okay? Luckily, I wasn't planning a wedding for a year, just for a couple months, but everybody gives you a ton of advice. This is what you should be doing, this is what you shouldn't do, this is what you should be worrying about, this is what you shouldn't be worrying. Everybody just starts to put their opinion on you. But then at the same time, they're like, oh, but do whatever you want. It's your day. Do exactly what you want, but you should do blah, 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 blah. Grief is actually the same. Every person immediately gave me their 2 cents on what my grieving process would look like, what grief meant for them, what grief is, what's gonna happen to me, how I'm gonna feel, all of that kind of stuff. But then at the same time was like, but it's you, like it's your process, you deal with it how you would deal with it. Ultimately, it was a very shitty thing, a terrible, heartbreaking thing. And so I'm navigating through it. Within the process though of my grief, if there was one thing that I think did happen to me, or that I feel has happened to me, is I feel like I gained weight, truthfully. I just feel like my body has taken on the stress of it. You guys know I have PCOS. I talk about PCOS a lot, and PCOS is a metabolic disorder. It's a hormonal disorder, and it is very challenging for women with PCOS to lose weight, to keep their body kind of in check, to keep their hormonal balance in check. And stress is a big factor for us. Anything too stressful really like throws you off. And I mean anything. Like, I'm even talking about like just like a high intensity workout could technically be too stressful for your body. And so if there was one thing that I really felt like I was experiencing with my grief, is that my body was like in complete and utter disaster zone. Like, it just was not able to like regulate the way that I've been able to regulate myself, or that I've learned to do over the years with different tricks and stuff like that. I felt very much out of control, and I still feel like that. And so I've been going through a lot of like just shame in my looks. And I know that that may sound crazy to some people, and I know that it's all like, you know, it's how you see yourself and all of that kind of stuff, but this is just the truth of the matter. I've just been going through that, and I'm aware of it, and so I'm just kind of working my way through it to fix and to feel better, but I'm aware of it. So yeah, and you guys know self-love is my thing, so I've been doing this enough for enough years. I've got enough tools and all of that kind of stuff that I'm very hyper aware of the stuff that's happening to me. And so when I'm in this space, that's how I feel. I'm aware that right now there's a voice in my head saying something really ugly to me, but it's not necessarily true, but it's just how I feel. What kind of sparked this, I guess, me even wanting to make this video is somebody had left a comment that was like, are you expecting? And I thought it was like the weirdest comment. It was like, I haven't said anything about having a baby or anything like that. Like, why would somebody say that? And I was like, oh, it's because I don't look right. My weight looks really different. And it is something that's been on my mind, not this comment, but just my body in general. And I realized that it's a big part of my grief is feeling very lazy and feeling very out of control of my body. This is what I have deciphered. And like I said, so a couple days ago, I got this big heartbreak. And like I said, it's the second biggest one of the year for me, besides my dad. And now a heartbreak for me is basically when something gets snatched from you in a way that you did not see coming. That's usually how I feel during heartbreak. And so heartbreak is expanded for me besides just like, like a relationship. It's like my heart was broken when my dad died. My heart was broken this week from just some career stuff. My heart has been broken from breakups, but like it's usually the feeling that I have is that something gets like snatched, but just fully pulled in such a way, so aggressively that I am in utter shock. That's my definition of heartbreak. And I immediately thought to myself, I have to do something to work on myself in order for me to start to feel better. That's just the way my mind works. That I cannot be in a pity party. I actually have to create a project. And the project this time is not something that's outside of myself, like a script or a show or something like that, but rather me. I have to now target in because I'm feeling very like, oh my God, what's going on? And that's exactly how I felt when my dad died, especially after my wedding. And I wanted my dad at my wedding so bad and did so many little things within it that were really for my parents in general. So when he was sick and was unable to come, it was truly very devastating for me. But nonetheless, it made me want to talk to you guys just about that, like the projects or the things that you have to do in order to make yourself feel better. As I said, like, if you guys have been rocking with me for a while, then you already know this. I've had this channel for almost 10 years. Whoa. I am in my mid-30s. I am very aware of myself. I have done a lot of work on myself. Like I'm really close to Andrea. Do you know what I mean? And so this is what made me very like, okay, the thing that I can do right now is control myself. That's the only thing I have control over. I do not have control over anything else. I had a conversation with my friend Allison, and sometimes, you think about like, why did this happen? And why did that happen? And everything happens for a reason. And she was saying, sometimes I think just shitty things happen just because. And I was like, I definitely think that, but I also think that they do something to you. And that's the thing, right? Like that, no matter what, that experience does something to you. It changes you in some way. As I said, I felt for me in the immediate going through my grief, I'm only like 8 months into my grief, that what I saw change in me was my body, that I felt like I literally put on weight and like could not stop putting on weight and was just doing my best to mask it versus like really know how to fix it. Then now having another element of heartbreak that I will eventually talk to you guys about. So I know if it sounds really vague, you're like, what the fuck? But that basically, it made me say, I cannot let this hinder me. I cannot let this kind of put me into a slump. I've got to just move. And I heard somebody say this on TikTok or Instagram or something like that, that sometimes when you're not feeling motivated, it's really about just like repetition. It's really about just the routine that you do for yourself. Like do that, because that will kind of eventually motivate you to where you need to be. Like, but ultimately it's like, just go do, like get up, fix your bed, put on some clothes, all of that kind of stuff. And so this is what I really had to do this video. I literally was like, Andrea, go put on some makeup, go put on a dress that you like, go turn on your camera and make a video, because I like being productive. I like doing stuff like this. I like feeling like I have a plan. I like feeling like I am moving forward. It's the moments that make me feel like I'm not moving forward that tend to get me in a depression or in a funk. And I'm doing my best to never second guess myself, to not think it's anything to do with my abilities, to do with my presence, to do with where I'm at in my life, to do with my choices, but it's just like some things are out of your control. And so what can you focus on is your control. And so, yeah, I was immediately like just thinking about ways to motivate myself. Not that I'm gonna make this some kind of like weight loss channel or anything like that, or even like really talk to you guys about that, but I just wanted to say that I'm in this space in myself, and wanted to find out from you guys where you're at in your own lives. If you ever get to that space where you're like, I don't feel very good about this outside thing, what can I do to make sure that it doesn't overcome me, that it doesn't get any more of my time? What can I do? Yes, we should all have our moments where we, cry about it, write about it, think about it for a day, 2 days, whatever. But then what? Then what? That's where my brain has been at for the last couple days. I had about a month off of work after my dad's funeral. And then I was like, all right, I set up a photo shoot. I had some content to do. I was like, come on, Andrea, this is what grief looks like for you. You've got to just keep moving. And that's all I've been thinking about this week, is when things happen to you that kind of stop you in your tracks, what do you do so that you can take a step forward? How are you finding ways to keep yourself moving? You don't got to run. You don't gotta sprint, but just taking a step. I don't care if the walk is slow. I don't care if you're crawling, but you've got to do a move forward. What are you doing? And that's what's been on my mind. And so I wanted to rant to you guys about that. That's the space that I am in as a creative, as a woman, as all of the things. And so I am in a space of navigating through heartbreak and motivating myself to continue to fight the good fight. Hope you guys are doing well. Leave some comments below. Bye.